Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Skinny Truth Podcast. And today we have another special guest with us, as well as my co-host, Dr. Roller. And I'm going to let Dr. Roller introduce our guest to us.
Mrs. Mary Arnold is how she's known on Instagram, but she is a patient of ours. And, you know, the small world nature of surgery and schools and kids all kind of came crashing together here. And she has done outstanding with her surgery. And Mary, when was your surgery? It was last summer, right?
It was, yeah.
Or 23?
Well, 2023, yeah. So July
about
2023.
About a year and a half out?
Tomorrow will be my 18-month appointment at Roller. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how much weight have you lost?
Almost 170 pounds. Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. And you had the duodenal switch, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So enough of the background stuff, because we're not going to focus on the surgical side. Tell everybody what your job is.
Sure. Well, I'm a middle school science teacher, and I've been doing that for the last 3 years. Before that, I was just a stay-at-home mom. And
so you decided to start herding the cats at school, huh?
yeah, I was brave and came back to work after
yes.
my babies were starting kindergarten, and so I knew I wanted to go back to teaching.
Well, what would you say was the reason that you decided to look into having weight loss surgery? What started all that?
Sure. Well, I was actually teaching, and I remember this. 2023 March, we had just done a science fair, and I remember waking up one morning and I hurt, like my whole body hurt. And I just knew, like, either I have to lose weight or I can't teach the next year. I just was so tired at the end of the day. I had nothing left to give my family, and that's not fair to them. And so I knew I either quit my job or lose the weight.
I don't think people understand the kind of rigorous nature of teaching. And we've done so many teachers. The state of Arkansas started covering weight loss surgery as a pilot program like 7 or 8 years ago. And so that was our first, every teacher wanted to have surgery either during spring break, summer, or Thanksgiving. That's when I started learning about this. But you start talking to them about just the rigorous nature of it.
Yes.
I don't think people associate teaching with physically demanding.
Absolutely. And as a teacher, even middle school, you would think it wouldn't be that bad. But day to day, I'm walking over 10,000 steps. So for me, a normal step count is 20,000 steps.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's
if
on
you
your
look
feet
at
all day.
Yeah, you're not at your desk very rarely.
Did you find that your weight was kind of inhibiting you from being the best teacher you could be?
Absolutely. I can remember not wanting to do certain labs, certain projects, because I knew there's no way that I have the stamina to get through 8 class periods. I wouldn't.
Well, I think that's something that Laura, obviously we've talked about a bunch on this, is 1 pound equals 4 pounds of pressure on your body.
Yes.
So, 170 pounds, or in Laura's case, 270 pounds, you're talking somewhere between 800 to 1,200 pounds of pressure.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
And my feet, every day, by the time I got home, I would lay in bed. I would get in bed and I would just hurt. And I remember trying all the different shoes, trying to figure something out for a couple of years. And then I'm like, well, if I lost weight, and now any shoes, I can wear the cute shoes, anything, and nothing, no pain, like all day. So
yeah, people will ask me about heels and they're like, how can you wear heels? I'm like, my feet don't hurt. I used to think I was not a heel person. It turns out it was just my weight is why I couldn't wear them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, you wouldn't? You don't have some in your closet, Dr. Roller?
I do not. There's plenty of heels in my closet.
I was just going to say, well,
Kristen's
there probably
closet.
is. Yeah.
I don't like to go look at that collection.
Right.
It hurts me mentally. So, and I hear that a lot, and people always trying to find the right shoe. Maybe it's the shoe that's causing it. Until you kind of have that epiphany. Do you feel like, now looking back on it, like how did kids can be cruel.
Kids are
I mean,
cruel.
we all know that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you feel any of that,
Absolutely.
on the heavy side? Yeah.
Yes. Kids notice everything. Middle schoolers are, probably one of the most cruel group. They notice and they pick up on what you're eating, and they will make comments. And I mean, they're brutal. But
so
when
did
you're
you find
overweight,
that they were like that when you were overweight? Would they make comments?
yes. And I feel like even sometimes that they didn't like me as much as now, because, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm doing more and I'm more confident and I'm funner myself now, but I find like my kids and my students, they have such better relationships with me prior. I don't think I formed even the same type of relationships.
We see that in the business world too, where people lose the weight and then start getting all these promotions. And I think there's probably some discrimination. That's there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think most of it is that self-confidence.
Yeah.
In performing your job. And people see it and notice it now. So instead of kind of trying to hide and stay in the shadows, I mean, do you see that as a change? Like,
absolutely,
as far as like with your coworkers and
right. I mean, there were people that I never even spoke to until recently. Right. And I think you have your self-worth is so low that you don't even give people an opportunity to get to know you, because you just assume I'm not worth it and I'm not good enough. Which is
they're
sad,
not going to like me, or
they're not going to like me. They're going to judge me. And so, yeah, absolutely.
So relatable. So you had surgery. Were you open about the surgery, like when people started noticing, or how did you go about that?
No, I actually did not tell anyone, except for maybe less than 5 people, up until January of this year. Okay. So I kind of I was honest in that, I'm walking every day and I'm, eating like this.
Eating right. Yes.
Yeah. Which I was doing all those things. Yeah. But there is such a stigma, with weight loss surgery. And I was so fearful that what they would say, that I did not feel confident enough to tell people that until recently. A friend was like, you should share that. You should be proud of that. And you might even be able to help somebody else. And so that really
that was going to be my question. What made you decide, okay, I'm going to share?
Yes. And it was purely my friend just encouraging me, like, hey, you've done such a wonderful job. You had such a great experience. Yep. If you only help one person, you should share. And so,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. That is so true, because I mean, we've all seen people lose weight, right? And when you ask them, I just eat a better diet and exercise, and if you're the person that has the problem, you're like, well, okay, I guess I'm doomed to fail, because
I do that and I can't lose weight.
Yes.
Yeah. Like she killed it. I'm a miserable failure. And then, you don't tell people about the tool that you use. It's available to all. So, So what kind of response, because that was the first thing I noticed was you on Instagram. Because, as a surgeon, it's like, oh, this is awesome. I love it. I would love for everybody to see this. But the patient has to buy in and put it out there too. And so I started seeing it on Instagram going, like, this is awesome. She has done incredible. So what's the response been since you I don't want to say came out, but just but told people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've had nothing but positive, and I have seen friends that I have not seen in over a year, and they're just shocked. And then I've told some of my students even, And I've shown them pictures and they are like, I would have never known that. Like, you don't look like someone that has lost that much weight. And I mean, everyone is just shocked. I mean, it's just,
I'll
yeah.
bet. They'd probably say you look completely normal. Like, why would
I've
you ever
gotten that
suspect?
comment
Yeah.
so many times. And the number one thing that people are like, you don't look like someone, a fat person or a prior or whatever. And I guess that's a compliment. But, and then you kind of feel bad again, like, oh gosh, what did they think of me before?
Right. Yes.
But,
Well, and I can tell you for a fact because it was just a month ago, and I've been hearing at my house for a semester and a few weeks now about Mrs. Arnold, and I have never connected the dot. I mean, Emory. So, in full disclosure, I have a seventh grader that's in Mrs. Arnold's science class, but I didn't connect the dots as to who she was talking about.
yeah.
So I showed her once we did, we finally, and in fact, it was Emory that connected the dots. It still wasn't me. I showed her a picture of you on Instagram, a before picture. Mm-hmm. She said, "That's not her dad." And I said, yeah. It is. And then I'd scroll and show her the before and after. And she is, I mean, you talk about, because they're so impressionable. Like, kids are so impressionable. But you talk about blowing her mind away. It was, I mean, because we're around it every day. Laura and I see it all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Seventh graders don't see that all the time.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah.
So, and then I put together the fact, this is the Miss Arnold that made us collect bugs for the science project for an entire semester. So we had our kitchen table was full of dead insects.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So because she's doing this podcast, I'm going to get over that and
get over the bugs.
Yes. All in the name of science. Well, how do you feel like kids and parents and teachers treat you now versus, or a better way to say this, how is your job now? What's it like being a teacher now?
I mean, it's so enjoyable. And I mean, even from just waking up and putting on clothes, like before, I never dressed up. I didn't do my hair and things like that. I mean, I just put on pants and a sweater, and that was like my everyday, cardigan. That was, just what I did. And again, I didn't put a lot of value in myself or, my self-worth. So now when people see me or students that I had prior, they're just like, you're glowing. It's like you're a completely different person because I mean, I am. I act differently. Mm-hmm. My teaching is different because I just enjoy life. It's like, Laura, I remember you saying one of your kids was like, why are you always dancing now? And you're like, because I'm happy. Right. And now with my teaching, I'm confident. And so I can be super silly and, vulnerable, where before I wasn't going to be like that because I was too scared what they thought about me. And now I'm confident in myself and I'm like, it's okay to if they make fun of me,
Right. Yeah.
So
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I hear that a lot from teachers. They're like, I can go all day long now and my students are begging for a break. Not me.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can outpace the kids now.
Yeah, that is so true. Yes. Yeah.
Do you find yourself, because teachers have so many demanding responsibilities, volunteering more and doing a lot of the extracurriculars, that are demanded of teachers versus before?
Absolutely. I think, before I would not take on anything extra, and now, whatever it might be, and a lot of outside things with even my own kids, sports and those things, I'm okay saying yes because I now have the energy. It's like cooking dinner every night. Prior, I would not cook. We were going to stop. We were going to go through the drive-through. Right. I mean, I could not go home and cook a meal. Like, I was just too tired.
Too tired. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, how is family life now?
I mean, just a complete 180. I mean, our whole lives have changed. Mom now can, go do all the fun things. One of the things my kids love is going to the lake and going on the boat. And now mom can do all the water sports and, I don't care if I'm wearing a swimsuit and I'll invite their friends and not be, embarrassed. And
Yes.
so, I mean, it's just life changing. Every aspect
Life
of your life
changing.
is completely different.
Yeah, well, you can certainly tell. I mean, you're glowing, so you seem
Yes, you've
happy,
done so
and
well. Yes.
absolutely. I think I think teachers are probably one of those professions that probably don't get all the credit that they deserve. I mean,
Mm.
you're educating the nation's future, so I think
It's
I
not
think
an
it's
easy job.
important, and it's
Oh
not.
no.
And our kids are probably around you and other teachers more than they are their parents at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that every
And
day. Yes. Hmm.
would you say that it's setting an example? I mean, you obviously you want to do that just as an adult, but I mean,
Yes.
I think
It
you've done
has
that in every
brought
possible way
so
now.
many questions. Well, and they will ask questions of like, why are you eating this? Or I never see you with soda. Why don't you drink soda? Or, how
Right.
can you eat like that every day? And that is my opportunity to say, well, I know if I eat this, like sugar or that candy bar, Mrs. Arnold is not going to feel well. So I like to, fuel my body with good things so that, I can make it all day. The last couple of years, I taught seniors as well, and we did anatomy and physiology. And that was such a great class to kind of introduce these things to them because nutrition is not talked a lot about in
Mm-mm.
school, even though we
Mm-mm.
have nutrition classes. But man, if we could start earlier and bring
Mm-hmm.
education with nutrition, I think our kids really need that because they are like with the energy drinks and soda and
Mm-hmm.
candy, that's all they see and they think that's normal. And, those are not good things.
Yeah.
No, and it's one of those things where you can only impact so much and that's a whole different topic, but you can only impact so much at
Yeah.
school. You can feed
Right.
them broccoli all
Mm.
day long,
Yeah.
but if they go home to Dr. Pepper and Snickers,
Exactly.
Yeah.
then you can destroy in 1 hour versus 8 hours
Mm,
of
Mm-hmm.
hard work. So no, I think it's
absolutely.
wonderful that we have people like you that are teaching our kids and setting that kind of example, because that's what parents want to they
Mm-hmm.
want to know.
Hmm.
Not are you just
Yeah.
educating my kid, but you're just a
Setting
good
a good example.
example
Yeah.
of how to be right. With that said, I think we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
It has been an honor and a pleasure to have you on this. And everybody, go give her a follow on Instagram. It's at Miss Mary Arnold. So you can watch her progress and journey. She's got some great content. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
It's fun to
you.
chat.
It
Thank you
is.
guys.
So with that being, oh, you're sure welcome. That being said, stay tuned for the next episode. We're coming out with them weekly now. As always, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or the Apple Podcast channel. Download, comment, and if you have questions, feel free to ask. We'd love to get back to them as for future topics. But until next time, we'll see you.
See you guys.